as I look at all of this, I go, this isn't the worst thing we've dealt with. And that's part of resilience is taking a look at where you are and what you've gone through and how you've handled that in the past and what are the tools that you can utilize today. Because if you don't rely on the tools that the universe has already taught you, then why did you go through the things that you went through? Because you went through those things to prepare you for future things. And this morning, as Miss Coach left and I just sat down, it's funny because we have this shop vac. I don't know where the shop vac came from. Maybe it was my mother-in-law's before she moved in with us because I do not remember buying the shop vac. But I went into the ground level bathroom and the sink the drain was still clogged. And I'm like, well, the one thing I can control right now is I can go get a shop vac that I saw in the garage that I didn't know we had, and I can suck out the water from it so that all of that water sitting there doesn't leak through and go and cause more damage. And so I was doing it, and I just, this overwhelming sense of we're going to be okay. This overwhelming sense of gratitude. And working in the Resilient Workshop book, that's one of the things, and if you've done our workshop before with the resilience, you know that gratitude is such a key. Gratitude is such a key to life, resilience, and living a full life. Gratitude is the treasure. It's the pearl. It is that you're knee deep in sewage and you find the wedding ring that you lost years ago down the drain. And saying, look at that. Look what I found. If all of this hadn't happened, I wouldn't have found this. One of the things that I can tell you through all of this, through the original leak and now this new leak, that I can be grateful for is watching how it has brought our family together. And we've already are close family due to all the other things that we've been through. But each new lesson begins to polish a new area of life. Sometimes an area that you didn't even know need to be polished. And I don't mean that in a negative. It may not have even been a bad spot. It just could be better. And the universe says, okay, you've grown this much. And it's never a place that you need to be to stay where you're at, no matter how good where you're at is. We should always be growing. We should always be moving forward. And so this morning, as I was sitting, I was just like, we're watching not just as one, as our kids are really advancing as adults. They are in a growth period of their life that is absolutely fantastic. And Miss Coach and I were talking last night that it is awesome to be able to be in this part of the season of our life, to be able to stand back and watch them grow. But through all of this, we're watching as our kids are getting, as adults, they're now standing behind us. And they're saying, hey, let us help out here. Hey, let us help out here. Hey, this is our home too. Like, let us be a part of this. And it has been so great to watch that as we face this new adversity this morning, I had to sit there and go, I am so grateful that we have built this legacy, this family, that we get to come together, this tribe, that we get to come together and experience this together. And the other thing you can take a look at is we're learning, having just gone through this with the master bedroom, I looked at Miss Coach and I said, you know, I don't think we need to call those other guys back right now, at least not at this point. I think we can do this. I just sat there and watched them do the last one. And then just being able to sit there and be grateful that this is where we're at. And again, just as I was saying the last time, and we haven't tore into this one, but we know it's the drain. It's not a continual leak. It could be worse. And beyond everything, this morning's lesson, we talk about all the time on my TikTok. I say always like, there's a lesson there. This morning's lesson is gratitude. I am grateful that I get to come on here and talk with you. I am grateful that I have the family that we have made it through life-altering events, and we're here today. I am grateful to be able to watch as my kids, who at some time or another through their life growing up, there were times as parents, we were like, are they even going to make it to adulthood? When I take a look at the things that my kids have been through, there are things that they've gone through that most people don't go through their whole life, let alone they don't go through as younger kids or middle-aged kids and teenagers. And I'm grateful that we are at this point. And so I'm sitting here today. I'm grateful because I'm going in, do some personal training today. I'm grateful that I get to do that. I'm still achieving my dreams. Doesn't look like the way we thought it would. And so how do you get to that point? So the lesson today, I don't think is just gratefulness. The lesson is, and it's really, I try sometimes not to, on Coffee with Coach, to teach an upcoming workshop. But as I stated, I'm working on the Resilient workshop, and one of the things that has really come up over and over with it is that how do you build that resilience, or how do you live with resilience? Sometimes we don't have to build it, we have it. We just have to exercise it. As a personal trainer, we have the muscles. We just have to sometimes work the muscles. You ever done a workout where, I know those who I have been personally training probably are experiencing this right now, where you do a workout and you're like, I didn't even know that I had those muscles. You had them. You didn't know it, but you had them. You just haven't worked them out for a while. And so they're sore. And you have to work them out in order to build them. And resilience is the same way. It's not that we don't have resilience. We have it. We just need to build it, or maybe we just need to maintain where we are. But in order to maintain it and not lose it, we have to work it out. And part of that resilience is how do you understand in the moment? So in the moment, waking up, let's take a look at this. Let's walk through this morning. Let me take you through the journey. This morning, I had an amazing sleep last night. I woke up this morning. I usually do not use an alarm. Usually I hear Miss Coach wake up. I did not hear her wake up this morning. I heard her moving around later, so I woke up later than normal. And as soon as I woke up, I had a smile on my face. I was ready to attack the day. And the first thing that hits me is adversity. The first thing that hits me is Miss Coach sitting there saying, hey, we have another leak in another bathroom, and it's affecting another bathroom. Okay, so let's stop. How do I react to that news? My response is my responsibility. The first thing I did is you start looking at it. You analyze and you take a look at where you are at in the moment and what is it that you're facing. You have to know the obstacle. You have to understand the obstacle. So the first thing I said is, how bad? And she's like, I don't know. And she explains, she's like, I just know that it's the drain of one shower and it's leaking into the ceiling of the other bathroom below it. said, okay, we've been here before. Its second thing is recognizing this is not unfamiliar territory. It may not look exactly the way that it did before, but it looks familiar enough to understand that I recognize this obstacle. Then you go analyze. So I immediately got up, got dressed, went downstairs, looked at the one bathroom. Yep, drain's not draining. Well, it is. It's just not draining where it should be draining. Go down to the basement, look up at the ceiling. Yep, that's water dripping. Then what can you control right now? You can't totally annihilate the obstacle in 1 second. You might be able to, but then that's not going to be much of a resilience lesson. And so the first thing I did is there was water on the floor. I grabbed a towel, put the towel underneath where it was leaking, and go, well, cool, got that taken care of. You then claim the small victories. I was a small victory, but it was a victory. I was like, yes, no more water on this floor causing any more damage. The towel is going to soak it up. That's a win for me this morning. Walked upstairs, and then you process the emotions in the moment. Again, what can you control? I was feeling the emotion. I'm like, okay, I understand right now that my wife is overwhelmed. What I will not do is add to the overwhelming. I need to keep a level head in this. I need to move through this as the front of the pack, as the squad leader, as the point man. What is it that we can do right now? And as I'm walking past it, like, that's when I remembered the shop vac, and I'm like, well, if that water still stays in that drain, then it's going to eventually drain, but not where we need it to drain. It's going to drain into the ceiling that I don't need it to drain into. Okay. So let's go get the shop vac. Suck the water out. Now I know that that's taken care of. That's a second victory in the face of an obstacle. Is it taking care of the obstacle? Is it removing the whole obstacle? Is there more stuff? No. There is, yeah. It doesn't remove the obstacle, and there's still more things. But I am already moving forward with small victories, and I'm claiming those victories. In building resilience, you have to claim those small victories. So many times we overlook those small things. It's that I need to lose weight. It's that I need to eat healthier. It is that I need to have a more mind-centered or center-focused mindset. And each one of those, sometimes it's those small things that are going to lead us down that right path, but we overlook the small things. It's that today, instead of taking the elevator, I took the stairs, but that didn't make me really lose any weight, coach. But you did something to move yourself closer to your goal, closer to beating the objective. And that's a win. That's a small victory. The war is never won in one swoop. It takes several small victories to combine together to achieve the objective. So I got that done. Then I sat down and I'm like, let's spread the wealth. I need to call somebody. I need to be able to not just hold this on my back. That's when you bring in your tribe. And I sent my father a picture and I said, well, guess what? Because the last time I talked to him, one of the last times we talked to him, we were talking about the other bathroom. And he just said, that's the joy of being a homeowner. So I sent him a picture of this and I said, the joy of being a homeowner. And he calls me, he goes, what in the world? And I said, I know. And in that was a small victory because I was able to keep a positive attitude through that conversation. And at the same time, acknowledge the victories I've already had. Miss Coach went to work. I knew I had to start getting ready for coffee with Coach. So I decided, okay, what is it right now that I can do? Then you need to look at what is on the table? What is available to you? So I started taking a look and I said, well, we could always call the company back that did the first one. That's an option. The options that are on the table, that's an option. We can do this ourselves as much as we can, at least to a point. And I might be able to do all of it. That's another option. Then you break those pieces down. financially, what is it? We had some savings that allowed me to be able to jump out of where I was in corporate America and start pursuing this. We had some savings that we had set aside so that Miss Coach could start her art business. We started all this, and those are slow. That's slowly, not slowly, quickly disappearing. So then, okay, so that's another obstacle within the obstacle. In that, how do we mitigate the loss? So this is how much money we're having to put out for the master bedroom. If I do this, this is approximately how much. Googling how much does it cost to do all this stuff, and then breaking that down. Okay, I've controlled that. May not like the answers to it, but I've controlled it. I've handled that. That's another victory. And each of these small victories begins to give you power to understand that you have a lot more control than you thought you did. And so as I'm getting ready to do this coffee with Coach, I understand that the obstacle is still there. And I understand it's a journey through it. And I understand that we're just starting on this piece of it, and we're through quite a bit of the other piece, the first leak. But this morning, instead of sitting here overwhelmed, this morning, instead of sitting here going, oh my God, and this morning, instead of being angry, first of all, I understand that I have to go do some personal training this morning after coffee with Coach later on today. Before I do that, I have some things I have to catch up on. And if I am overwhelmed and shutting down, then what I am doing is creating a cascading effect that will have a negative effect on every other step that has to go forward this morning. That still is in the universe. It still has to take place. And if I have a negative attitude and it begins to shut down each of those things, that is going to compound a problem that I already have. It's going to create more problems. It's like sitting there going, I am used to giving into addictions anytime that life becomes overwhelming. So it becomes overwhelming. Maybe I'm kicking in an addiction and life is becoming overwhelming. My default is an addiction. So then instead of building that resilience and taking step by step, claiming the small victories, analyzing the situation, putting a plan together, whether it's the plan I wanted to or not, it is the plan. Instead, I just shut down and I give into my addiction, which then, whatever that addiction is, whether it's drugs or something even smaller, food, whatever. So then in that creates a negative mindset of I've once again failed. Now I feel like a failure, which sends my spiraling mentally down and I've lost all forward momentum. And it is compounded an original issue that may even be so far separated from where I am now. By not stepping through with resilience, finding that gratitude of where you are, taking a look at the situation, pulling in your squad members, and taking one step at a time. And so this morning, we've got to deal with this. But boy, I am grateful that I get to deal with it. I'm grateful that I have the family unit and the tribe that I have. I am grateful that I get to take this and bring it to you as Grit Nation and say, hey guys, I hope that you can learn something from this. And then I am also grateful knowing that if this is what's going on, then I'm on the right path in the universe, because the universe is still testing. Because Miss Coach last week, and I knew it when she said it, she was taking a look at different universal signs and the way that the universe aligns. And she says, I hate to tell you this, but April is going to be challenging. And I just looked at her. You can't control the universe. You have to exist within it. It is the existence we are in. And I just looked at her and I mentally cinched down my rucksack and said, okay, let's go. And yesterday was the first day of April, and it was a good day. And I'm like, okay, day one down, and then day two. My friends, build resilience. Be grateful. Take each step. Claim the small victories that lead to the smaller or to the larger outcome that you so wish. If you look at the themes that have been happening over the last couple of weeks, it's leading us through some pretty big lessons. Keep showing up. When you show up, get to work. When you face the obstacle, stop and break it down. Keep a level head of gratitude. And then in that gratitude, ask yourself, what is it I can control? What is it I can't control? Take care of the things that you control and claim those victories, no matter how small or large they are. Why? Well, you know why. It is because our response is our responsibility.
Cup of coffee in my hand, already late, already tired. Same sidewalk, same old strangers, eyes down, nobody wired. I'm a blur inside the traffic, just a shadow in the glass. Every mirror, every window, like I'm see-through as I pass. But there's blue above the buildings, and it cuts right through my chest. If I lost the thing that drove me, I could find
All right, let's go.
elevate, rise, break through the grave, tear up the script of another cold day. I've been so long, shrinking my flame,
But I will elevate.
You know my name. I will elevate, rise out of this flame, step from the ground, reclaiming my name. Lunch at desk and quiet scrolling. Everybody somewhere else, talking in these tiny circles, never saying how we felt. I remember younger visions, crumpled sketches in a drawer. Did I trade them for a paycheck and a half a sleep
Encore.
But there's fire under ashes, and it hums beneath my skin. If I've drifted from my reason, I can still come back again. I will elevate, rise, break through the gray, tear up the script of another dull day. I've been so long, shrinking my flame, but I will elevate.
All right, Grit Nation, go and elevate today. Remember, claim those small victories and be grateful. Be grateful. I am grateful for you. I am so humbled that you spent this morning for the last 30 minutes. You spent it here with me. And I truly hope that you will take these lessons, move out, move forward. Let's accomplish the mission, one small victory at a time. Go Grit it.